Everyone, this is Unlocking AI for Animal Shelters and Rescues. I'm Kristen Hassen, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. This presentation is for everybody who thinks AI is not for them, and everybody who is excited about AI but wants to learn more, as well as people that already are sort of experts in it. I've been using AI for several years now, but it is developing rapidly. These first pictures, if you're wondering why I shared them, these result from a prompt I put in a ChatGPT. The image on the top is me a year ago. I looked great. I was very cute. I was a cartoon. The middle one is from about 3 months ago. Same prompt, but that's what ChatGPT is giving me. I think the prompt was just me sitting at a computer, learning about AI with my mind blown. And then this one on the bottom is me. I just did this yesterday. So unfortunately, this is not heading in the right direction for me. I really prefer the top image, but as you can see, AI image generation is shifting very quickly from what we see in the first image to the third. I always start off every presentation about AI talking about concerns because there are huge concerns with AI. The book Empire of AI is such an amazing read. It's just a great book. It's about OpenAI and ChatGPT, but it also really goes through every concern about AI and why those are real and valid concerns. But we really want to go into AI with our eyes open. It's part of why I teach it, is because it's not going anywhere. And I really believe we have to learn how to use AI safely in animal shelters and rescues. It can have a great benefit, but we should be aware of all of these are certainly concerns. So I really recommend that book. We're going to cover a few things today. We're going to move super fast. You'll get all these resources. We'll list all of these out for you. I've already checked to make sure that these are available in Australia. And as far as I know, everything I'll share today is. But this is what we're going to cover today. And we're also going to tell you about some fun ways to use AI and an LLM. That's large language models. That's things like ChatGPT, Claude, and other models that are these big, large language models that bring together a lot of information. But that's just a little poster I made, and throughout the presentation, I'll show you other visuals that I have made using AI. My last book recommendation, this is an older book written in 2024. But in the world of AI, older, and it's called Co-Intelligence: Living and Working with AI. This book is what really sparked my interest. I was peripherally using AI and interested in it, but reading this book changed my mind about the possibilities and why it was so important to start really learning. Today, we're going to focus mostly on the large language models, not the huge array of tools you can use now. I'm just going to mention three by name, but there are many. ChatGPT is the one that a lot of people know. Claude by Anthropic. I love Claude. I use it for all my writing. And then Venice. And I mentioned Venice.ai because it was developed by the folks who made Signal, which has a lot greater privacy for people. And so for folks that are really concerned about privacy, Venice is a great bet. I use that one as well. If you don't know how to use AI, but you've started to see it pop up everywhere, the very best way to learn is to pick one or two of the LLMs, the large language models, not all the tools that are built on top of them. Pick one or two and just start using them day to day for most things you do. You also want to start using AI in areas where you know enough to know if it's wrong. So if you're an expert in operating an animal shelter or a rescue, or you're an expert in spay neuter, start using it in areas where you'll know if it's getting it right. You always want to give your LLM, your AI, a reference or a starting point. So rather than asking a question like, make me a flyer, make me a checklist on how people should care for dogs in shelters, you can upload a document and say, turn this document into a flyer. It'll do a much better job with that. You want to talk to AI the same way you would talk to an assistant, and kind of a junior assistant. And finally, you always want to check your work with AI. Unlike the internet, so the internet's going to give you an answer, but it's going to tell you if it doesn't know. If I look up spaghetti soup on the internet, it may just not generate any real accurate results. But if I look up spaghetti soup on AI, it's likely to give me a recipe for that, even if one doesn't exist. So it's a bit really different than using the internet. When you are prompting out your LLM, so your ChatGPT or Claude or another model, Google Gemini is another one that folks use. When you are prompting it, these are just some general rules to follow. This is a flyer I made. I was in a shelter where FIV cats, they had big signs, don't touch this cat and don't let it get to other cats. And so I helped the shelter make a sign that says, FIV cats are okay. Here's what you should know about them. They're great. You can adopt them. And I just made that sign really quickly using AI, but I was able to do that because I used a good prompt. I asked for something specific. I gave AI a role. So first I asked it to look at what veterinarians say about FIV, what shelter medicine programs say about FIV cats. I gave it some examples that I wanted it to pull from. And then I just did a step-by-step thing. I got the content right that I wanted in the flyer, and then I moved to the design, all within ChatGPT. I mentioned this again, you want to treat it like an actual assistant. So if it doesn't get the answer right the first time, you just ask for what you want again and use a little more context, and you will get to that answer that you want to. So I'm going to walk through some examples of how we recommend using AI in animal shelters. These are just some examples of how shelters are using it, and I'll talk a little bit about ways that I use it as well. But this was if you remember pound puppies, this is an example from a dog I was trying to get adopted in a shelter, and I just turned this dog into a pound puppy instead of, and this was a very popular stuffed animal some years ago, instead of just a picture of the dog, and you can stick this right on the kennel to help market the dog. Okay, so there is a problem for animal shelters when using AI. AI is going to pull from everything that exists, all the knowledge in the world. It's going to pull from anything that is on the internet. It's going to pull it into one big giant information soup. And so it's a lot of information, but the problem is if that initial information isn't right, then what you get out of the AI also won't be right. So we have to worry about inaccurate data, biased information, information that is maybe incomplete or partial, because what you're going to get as a result is also AI information that is inaccurate, biased, or incomplete. And that's why you need to know a little bit about what you're talking about when it comes to the subject. For instance, if I were right now saying to AI, show me the chemical makeup of rubber that is on the soles of my Birkenstock shoe. I don't know enough about that to know if it's right or wrong. Like I couldn't tell you. If I ask it, tell me give me an example of a great web page content for a foster page on a website, I would know if I liked that content or if that was close to accurate. So you want to make sure that you know enough to know when it's wrong. And also not just wrong, but maybe only partially right or biased. So these are just some ideas for how to use AI. My company was featured in the New York Times the other day with some of our AI information. We are using AI. I'm an animal shelter consultant, and so we're using AI for everything we do. We're really trying to help shelters also use it because we have to think outside the box and do things a little bit differently. So one of the questions I shared with the Times was, give me 50 great ideas for adoption promotions focused on senior pets who have lost their homes. You'll notice that I said 50 ideas and that I was specific about what I was looking for. It wasn't just give me 3 great adoption ideas. That's because with AI, you can ask anything you want. I wanted 50 ideas. And so I looked at all 50 results and I didn't actually like the first 50. I said, give me another 50 ideas. And in that second group of 50 ideas, it came up with a few that I really liked, one of which was lifetime of love, side by side, then and now photos, of pets that have lost their longtime families and a call to give them love again. And I thought that was such a cute idea. And when pets are surrendered, like if you have two pets surrendered because their owner passed away, we can usually get an old picture of them and then share them now as a way to help get those pets adopted. So that was a great idea that came out of AI, but I had to ask something specific and I had to ask for a lot of different ideas. I also really love using AI for data. I have really been going, when I look at animal shelter data, it only tells us certain things. So I've been using AI to say, tell me things I might not be seeing in the data. One of the shelters that we work with is Los Angeles Animal Services. It's one of the largest animal shelter systems in the country. And we recently worked with them to try to reduce the length of stay of dogs. They had anywhere between 1,200 and 1,500 dogs in their shelters at any given time, and we wanted to reduce that number. I had looked at that, but it gave me a way to look at it I had never thought of before. So we started working with them in October of 2024 approximately, and you can see the downward trend of the long stay dogs. Those are the dogs that were in care more than 30 days. And then the short-term stay dogs, you can see that number's going up, and that's a good thing because we want to see more dogs staying there less time. So this is a great way to visualize the data that we never would have come up with on our own. This is Nebraska Humane Society. They're using AI to map out where they're doing community cat programs. And you can see like here they're entering their data. It's generating maps, and this is actually a live dashboard. So they're able to map out where community cat program activity is taking place the most and share a lot of info about their community cat program. And this is a public dashboard that anyone can see. This is another example. This was vibe coded by my colleague at New York Animal Care and Control. You may have heard that term. He was frustrated that a lot of times staff didn't know how to calculate the end of a required stray period or a hold period, impoundment time. And so he built a little calculator that now all the staff have to do is enter a few pieces of information and it calculates the correct hold time. And for a shelter system this big, that's a big win because that allows them to peel off days that animals sit there and can't be adopted. So it allows them to shorten the overall length of stay. You can also use AI to improve your written communication, and there's so many ways to do this. I get so frustrated looking at animal shelter websites. That's one example of where I think they get written over years and different people weigh in and edit them, and they can just be kind of a mess. So you can rewrite your website. You can do scripts for how staff should interact with the public. This is a great way to use AI. You can sort of enter your SOP or your standard operating procedure, how you do something. You can enter that in to Claude or ChatGPT, and you can say, help me write me a script for what staff should say to the public on this issue. You can use it for sensitive email communication if you are trying to write an email that you want to word carefully, or you're one of those people that communicates a little bit aggressively. You can just plug in your email and or your text and you can say, help me make this more professional or softer or nicer. It'll help you with that. HR and performance management documentation. If you're managing people and you want to make sure that you are getting your documentation correct, let's say somebody's had a problem at work, you don't ever want to enter personal identifying information. So you wouldn't want to enter someone's name or any other identifying information, but you can enter scenarios and ask AI how to handle that appropriately. And remember, one of our first rules is to tell AI what you want it to be, like be specific. So I would say, please be a human resources professional. And I need advice on X, and it can give me that. And finally, it's great for creative writing. It's great for marketing materials. We have had so many awesome ideas come out of AI for different adoption events, et cetera. And I'll show you a couple of those in just a moment. You can also, I've more recently been following how quickly vet care is adopting artificial intelligence. Here in the US, we have a massive vet shortage. There just are not enough veterinarians for all the animals that need help. And so this is a great use of AI to be able to help veterinarians document more quickly. The American Veterinary Medical Association has a lot of information on their website. Their AI is also being used to have like artificial intelligence hiring of vet techs who can move around and be almost like travel nurses for vet care. But the vet profession is using it for virtually everything, including medical care itself. So this will be an interesting development. It could lead to better patient care. We know in medicine that what research is telling us so far about human medicine is that the best possible scenario is what's called AI augmented um, professionals, which means that a doctor is working along with AI to diagnose and treat conditions. And that's proven to be both better than the doctor working alone or AI working alone. So we expect to see some of the same happening in vet care and already is. Um, This is a really, I guess, a lot of people start here, which is let's just make a sign that looks good. This was a sign at a shelter that we actually made for them, but it's just a simple blue sign at an animal shelter that we were working with, a municipal animal shelter, and we just changed it so it's a little bit more of a friendly, well-designed sign. And that's an easy thing. The prompt I put in for that was help me make this sign more visually appealing and eye-catching. And I don't necessarily love the result it came up with, but I might ask for a few changes and I'd be able to get it. You can also use it to just create really quick visuals. I think we procrastinate a lot in shelters and we're so busy that it feels like, oh gosh, I know I need to get that done, but I don't have time. I share these on purpose because none of them are amazing or beautiful. They're just basic visuals that you need in animal rescue and animal sheltering. The one on the left is just simply a sign to market a dog. The one in the middle is a call for foster homes needed, and this poster was placed on almost every kennel in this shelter. And then on the right, I just made a little flyer for an adoption event if you wanted to stick that up or put that on social media. And you can see AI is getting better and better at text. When we were all sort of starting to use ChatGPT last year, it had a lot harder time with words and letters, and that has changed. It's much better. Some people are using Canva as well. Canva has an AI component to it. And okay, so we're gonna walk through an example that I did recently. I said, give me 10 great ideas for an adoption event focused on kittens. And so it gave me a list and I said, give me 10 more. Gave me 10 more. And I said, give me 5 that are geared towards adopting out pairs of kittens because we often tell people to, when you're adopting out kittens, get people to adopt 2 of them. They're so much happier. Especially, those indoor cats, getting to have a best friend with them, it's just a better quality of life. So I wanted to focus on pairs of kittens. I really liked this idea, Catflix and Cuddles, which builds off Netflix. And so I asked AI, I like this idea, can you help me write a description for it? And help me come up with a graphic. So this is what it came up with. I had to make a couple of attempts to get this graphic and it's still not perfect. But I'm showing you these things because I want you to see how easy this is. Like if I can do it, you can do it. So I came up with this poster, which was quite cute, of the cat in the popcorn box. It says, warning, you may leave with a new best friend or 2. And then it gives me the whole description for the event. So for this event, it's recommending that we turn the entire animal shelter rescue space into a cozy movie watching area, that we have kitten snuggles, that we're going to show some movies, and we just invite the public to come, whether or not they're thinking about adopting. and we tell them the date and time. So it gives me a great description. It's a fun movie night. It actually sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure there's a way we could do it. We might have to change a few things, but this gives me a whole idea for an event that people would really enjoy, and it's different than anything we had done. So that's kind of tracing that line from the very beginning of I know I have a lot of kittens and I need to do an adoption event, all the way to now I have the marketing material, I have the description and everything that I need. I'm gonna stop here, and I want to share that I'm teaching an online course that is everyone is eligible to apply for. It's international, and it is a 4-week sort of 5-week class that I'm teaching to understand more about AI. I do webinars like this all the time, and it's moving so fast. This course is really a peer-to-peer learning class, so people can sign up, they can attend the course. We record it for those who can't be here live, and it really gets into more of the details. There's just so much to learn with AI that this is kind of a longer format class that gives people more opportunity to learn how to use AI for data analysis and marketing and fundraising. And while not all these tools are available yet in Australia, most of them are. And most of them are really, really useful in different ways. So regardless of what you do in a shelter, these are all pretty useful tools. So I'm going to stop there and thank you.